I have here a Prezi to explain why I like using the Google Docs and WordPress as a free teaching tool for my classes. Here's an example of a spreadsheet that's got everybody's answers in it, all in one place. Conveniently, I can look at each person's work without having to open up separate files. Here's an example of a student post on WordPress in response to a wellness plan journal. And here's an example of an embedded form from a Google Doc, and it is easily accessing quick answers and auto-filling into an Excel spreadsheet. So my intentions for designing Google Docs assignments are to make them interesting and novel, and to teach technology along with assignments. It also very conveniently automates many functions to reduce repetition. And then, of course, it increases accountability. There's more time for feedback and interaction and intervention, and more time for personal reflection to improve my teaching. It also is innovative and a creative tool. So what I decided to do was take an ordinary spreadsheet and convert it to Google Doc. I uploaded all types of assignments into this one workbook, and each week is a different tab. I use color to draw attention to assignments and where they're to fill in the blanks. And I insert as many formulas as I can to relieve students from repetition and for my own automation. I created an external spreadsheet as well, as you saw in that first demonstration that was in yellow, so that I can see all the grades easily from one file. And then I invited each student to their own Google Doc, so it's privately shared between us. All of those files are then put into a class folder. Here's an example of a project that was in week 7 where they fill in the color boxes. And this is also an example of how in an editable form they can continue to update or change or modify throughout the course if needed. How did it transform the process for students? Well, they don't have to save files. They don't have to go to their downloads or their desktop or a thumb drive or an email. It auto-saves as an editable at all times, and it has a revision history. It's very convenient for me and for them. And we can complete an assignment from any computer, just need the internet. There's no need to email back and forth the filed and fixed files, and it is private, whereas hard copies exchanged back and forth could be viewed by others and easily misfiled or lost. And the other convenience is that they can check out their work when they're not in class. Here's an example of week 2 where they had to upload a screenshot and how it transformed the process for myself. Of course, convenient to have less clicking, less searching, less possibilities for losing track of documents. In comparison to using our LMS, it's like probably 5 to 8 clicks faster. The document pops open very quickly, no need to wait for it to load. And it allows me oversight. I can easily see how the class is doing, and I can go check on them in one location without having to go back behind a number of different layers. I can edit simultaneously with the students, and there's no need for new versions. This is an extra nice tool to help guide through certain kinds of assignments where you need to work with them and possibly continue to re-edit with them. It allows for great flexibility because you can open it at any time you have internet. Of course, it reduces carbon footprint, and it helps them move between assignments very quickly. WordPress is another tool that has been a new convenience for me, but it also pulls a lot of new and various outcomes that I hadn't really expected. It makes students the central part of learning, and it is not dead, it's alive, and it can continue to be edited and upgraded, and it has a public audience. I find that students also seem to enjoy the fact that they can show off with their peers, and it feels a bit like Facebook in that way. Students can personalize their content more than they could in a Word file or a handwritten document. They can add media, they could even add music or movies. It's also another chance to practice writing and synthesize their ideas on their own time. It's very convenient also because there's no uploading of documents, no need for a word processing program. And it is immediately available to them, and they can interact and participate on their own time outside the class. And I find if the blog is set up properly, there can be quite a bit of interaction between students that provide motivation, and their candid and honest responses are different than what you can get in a classroom situation. It also has a chance to build this teamwork sort of feeling, and they discover some commonality. It also gives the chance for students who are timid to share in the learning and have a voice where they otherwise didn't. The informal venue also changes the nature of the interaction with students, as I find. Here's an example of a post from one of the students about a health topic on diet programs. It transformed my teaching because it's a chance to archive all my student work, and it gives me the chance to bring up student work when I'm out in the community and doing workshops and talking about health. And it's very convenient because there's no uploading of documents, just as I mentioned before. It's another interesting situation where I can interact more on their level and also to model what I want them to do. And this type of student contribution can expand their learning because they're part of the revealing of content from their own perspective. And it's a new and interesting way to interact with students. Students have new ways to express themselves that feels creative for them because it feels different than submitting regular classwork on a Word file. For those who want to do more, it provides them a chance. And of course, it's another chance to teach technology. It also introduces them to the public domain and thinking about their public self. And this learning of new technology through use of social media, it can be very helpful in developing their professional self. And here are the uses that I have had in the past 4 semesters for students to participate using their WordPress. The last tool that I've been using this particular semester has been Google Forms. And it's quite curious. The interaction that you can find from using a Google form feels much like the clicker technology. I can obtain instant feedback because you can embed the form in the LMS, or I've embedded it into the WordPress. It collects responses in a central location. It's easy to get the information back that also identifies them by their email, or you can make it anonymous. Nice that it's time-stamped, so it provides accountability. And then, of course, the results are editable. And the Google form itself is editable. And here's an example right here of an embedded Google form into a class. Here's an example of the results, and you can see that this is the dates that the students were responding when it was sitting in class, and here's where they were answering while they were in class. And it's anonymous in that particular instance. But I have also provided a chance for you to experiment with this by going straight to my website, which is a WordPress blog. And once you get there, if you highlight the Google Forms and you scroll down to the bottom a little bit further, you'll see this survey. And in the survey, you can just type in your answers to my prompts, and then it will automatically fill into my little spreadsheet, and I'll see something about public participation. My name is Denise Castro. I lecture in kinesiology at CSU Monterey Bay. Thank you.